Hey, and welcome back to the channel, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back with you here on the Weather Nerds YouTube channel here on your December the 16th, 2025. Hope you guys having a great morning out there. I am your no-nonsense weather guy here to give you some accurate information so you can plan your day. No hype here. We just give you the facts. Stay prepared and not scared. That's our motto. And if you're new to the channel and you like this approach, you like just to get the weather without somebody screaming at you telling you it's the storm of the century every time a storm comes along, then hey, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel? Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And again, good morning to my regular viewers. Good to see you out there this morning. Let's go ahead and dive into this update, shall we? Got a lot to talk about here. Let's go look over yesterday's numbers here. We had several places yesterday. It was minus 15. I went ahead and put it on Indiana because I just liked Indiana today. So Crawfordsville, Perrysville in Indiana were both minus 15, as was Paris, Illinois, and Mount Washington, New Hampshire, all minus 15 yesterday. And the warm spots was Palm Springs, California at 89. Gotta love Palm Springs, right? All right, let's go look at our current weather map here for this morning. Let's get this over here and get this thing going. Once again, still trying to fight a little frog in my throat. Anyway, not looking too bad out there today. We do have some thunderstorms in the offing in the days ahead. It looks like day 3 we may have a marginal risk for severe weather. That's what we're kind of teasing today. December thunderstorms, and with temperatures expected to go above normal, especially as we go into next week, whenever we get any kind of storm systems, the return chance of thunderstorms obviously comes up because it's warmer. We get better instability, better heat to deal with because it's very limited in the winter months. So we got to have certain ingredients to come together to get us any kind of weather. And we're getting a little bit out there on the West Coast here. Now, the good news for you folks out here in California, really up and down here, that have been kind of dry thanks to this high pressure off the West Coast. Noticeable changes are coming. You're going to have a lot more rain and the snow. I'm going to show you what the long-range snow projection for California is looking like. I mean, it is quite significant there. In fact, I might use that as a teaser tomorrow if it's still there tomorrow. But anyway, we are looking cold here across the east. We got 20s all the way down to the Gulf Coast again. We got 20s down here into Florida, teens and this cold air coming in here. Again, the only place I see kind of maybe chilly is the Northeast going into Christmas Day, but a lot of the country is not going to be bad. We're going to have these little glancing blows up along the Canadian border, but a lot of the country is going to see some nice warmth as we go in for the days ahead. All right, so let's go look at your current watches and warnings out there. I don't know why that thing keeps popping up. It keeps aggravating me, but there it goes. One thing we do want to point out is look at all the wind out here on the West Coast. I mean, just a lot of wind out here. You've seen all these little wind advisories out here into the plains, intermountain region. And we do have some winter storm warnings. Look at that's out there in the pink there across the Cascade Mountains and a little bit of the mountains out there. But definitely very windy out there. Hold on to your hat out there in the west. That's for sure. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the big picture here. Look at the thunderstorm risk here. This is your day 1 here for today. So we're talking about areas there getting in toward the Gulf Coast here. Let me turn my pen on again. I turned it off. There we go. And you can see that down here. And then we got some marginal risk out here into out to the West Coast where that storm system coming out there. So Salem and Eugene are in this as well. Eureka's in there. So again, that's your day 1 outlook here. Day 2, looking at the, I mean, this is wintertime. We're seeing thunderstorms out here in the west. This is unreal. Montana, Idaho, and then here across Illinois down toward Texas. Here's your day 2. And then day 3, this will be the one we'll watch here later in the week. This one, I think, could be, there's some pretty decent dynamics in the atmosphere. I would suspect we may even have a low tornado risk with this, like 2% potentially for this area going into day 3. So just watch out for that here across areas of Kentucky, Tennessee, the extreme northeastern portions of Arkansas, and the southeastern portions of Missouri. So that's what we're looking at as far as day 3. Now, West Coast, they're getting a lot of the action. This is the rain out there in California starting to return. So we're going to have a definitely trending cold, wetter up and down the West Coast. And again, a lot snowier, especially in the Sierra Nevada. They're really going to get plastered here in the next 10 days and even beyond that here in the days ahead. So let's go ahead and take a look at your model here. Let's go look at the, get over here. There we go. As we're looking at the current model run here across the country. Again, we're looking at some showers and thunderstorms here across the middle of the country because of that front coming on out here. Got some thunderstorms out here on the West Coast. See that out there? Look at all the snow is out there. And then we'll watch for some thunderstorms down here across near Texas. That storm comes in the middle of the country. Look how fast that thing moves in. So again, we're talking about that West Coast system. Let's slow this down a little bit. as this thing races inland going into your Tuesday. So a lot of rain out there on the west coast today. We tap a little moisture there along the Gulf Coast, but as that system quickly moves inland, we're going to tap some of that moisture coming out of the Gulf. Look at that little background. There's some pretty good snows in the back part of this going into parts of the Dakotas here, going into your Thursday morning. So we're going to check some rains here. Areas that got a lot of that snow on the ground are going to get a lot of rain here across the Midwest here. And in fact, I do expect a lot of that snow to melt off here going into next week, as this will be a quick cold shot. We'll get a little cold shot here coming behind this one, but a quick warm up next week. And then we got another storm system here out on the west coast coming on here. Pretty good rains here on the Oregon and into Washington State. Pretty good internal snows there as well for the Rocky Mountains. All right, let's look at your next 60 hours here as far as rainfall totals. Not bad. I mean, pretty limited here in the middle of the country, but look at the west coast. Wow, we're talking about a lot out there. Go from Washington State all the way into northern California here. Again, not going to get a lot of snow with this initially across California, across the high Sierra Nevada. The levels are just too high. But as we go into next week, that will change, okay? So we're looking at some very high rainfall amounts out here on the west coast. Obviously, that translates into snow. Again, the upper plains here where that system coming out, we saw the moisture there. Again, this goes to 1 o'clock on your Thursday. And it looks like we'll get some, again, we're talking feet of snow out here in the Cascade Mountains. So we're looking at 76 inches, 38 inches. So quite a bit up here into portions of Washington State. Idaho and Montana also looking at some good snows here over the next couple of days, all right? So that's just covering the 2 days. Wait till I show you the 10-day. That's quite impressive indeed. All right, so let's look at the temperatures here. Again, still got another cold shot coming down here. It's going to be coming down here. Here it comes right there. Here it comes right there. See the below zero kind of teasing around along the Canadian border. So this cold air is going to start to modify here in the east. And then we got one little quick shot coming down here. This next system coming into Thursday. So we're going to start tapping some cold air. Here it comes, coming on down here. And that'll go Thursday into Friday. So we'll get a brief cool down there in the central and east. All right. Now, the overall weather pattern is, again, making a substantial pattern change. That is still in the cards. That still has not changed. Okay, we've been talking about this for a few days now. So this last bit of cold air that's currently pulling out, we got one more cold shot. We got one little dip. Here's this one. This is the Thursday, so we'll bring in a little cold, it'll be cold air up here across the northern tier. Nice little cool shot there. But once this pulls on out on Thursday, this lifts on out. We're going to go zonal here, and look at this ridging here going into Christmas week. Wow. I mean, we're talking, yeah, no cold, maybe the northeast. That's about it. But this high pressure ridge here is going to shift this way and is going to keep it pretty much on the mild side for Christmas week. Very, very warm. In fact, I expect a lot of temperatures to be running some 15 plus degrees above normal. We're talking Texas, Oklahoma getting, well into the 70s, maybe a few 80s in there, possibility there. And this stays right through Christmas week. And then we got another cold shot across into New England. New England is the only place where we're seeing that. West Coast gets a little bit. And then the pattern seems to indicate here where we're getting the cold air developing across Western Canada, and we're going to bring it out the west. Look at the ridging here in the east. So colder in the west, warmer in the east. I don't really see, once this big cold air pulls out of the southern tier of the United States, I don't see any real big cold shots coming down here to the south anytime soon for folks in my backyard, okay? Now, let's go talk about the weather pattern here over the next 10 days. Again, we're kind of looking at, again, action's really going to pick out on the west coast. Really going to be picking some action on the west coast. So California, which has been on an extended dry spell, that's coming to an abrupt change. So we got this one system coming in here on Thursday, coming through the northeast. So some pretty good rains there, a little cold shot. Then that's going to warm up. And then all the action shifts out to the west coast. Watch the west coast from Washington State down through California. You got one storm system. Here comes a really good one on the 24th. A really good one coming in there. Higher elevation snows coming in there. And then we got another one coming in here on Christmas Day. So we got a 1-2 punch. 1 and then 2. And that's going to bring in some pretty heavy snows out there in the out down there into the Sierra Nevada mountain range there going into California. Okay. Now, let's go talk about the rainfall amounts here, 10-day totals. A little bit better here across the south. We'll take that. What do we get? Northeast looking pretty wet. These west, look at this, all the way down into almost getting toward Los Angeles now. We're getting some heavy rains up and down this west coast area. Again, these are 10-day totals. I mean, we're 9 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches. I mean, you're talking 8, 9 inches. I mean, just quite a bit, all up and down here. Now, obviously, some of this is going to fall as snow. This takes us all the way out to Christmas Day. This is a 10-day total, and here goes the snow. New England's still looking snowy. The upper Great Lakes still looking snowy. But boy, this out here in the west, we're talking, when you see green, we're talking feet of snow, 74 inches, 53 inches. 38 inches. Again, just quite a bit of this. Now, I don't normally do this, but I do want to show beyond the 10-day, just taken out to the 15. Watch what happens out here in the west. This is just a really, just shows you how cold and snowy it's going to get out in the west. I mean, wow, look at all that green. I mean, that's 106 inches, 41, 91, 81. I mean, just 98 inches. We're going to get blasted with some very heavy snows all up and down here. It's been not that snowy. It's been kind of a slow start out west. I think they're going to make up for that in earnest as we finish off the year. All right. Now, as far as the cold air, this is our 10-day loop here. We got these glancing blows that are going to continue to come. But notice as we get to the 25th, how things change so abruptly. There's that one cold shot there. There's the next one coming into the 22nd. That stays north. But boy, when we get into Christmas Day, check this out. Christmas Day, we're talking 60s into Indiana, Illinois, Nebraska, 60s on Christmas Day. This is unreal. 70s down here. I mean, this is the 7 o'clock temperature. Back this up to 1. I mean, we're getting near 80 here near Dallas, 70s across Georgia. 60s into the Carolinas. So these way above normal here, big time as we head toward Christmas week. So it's going to be quite warm across a lot of the country. Cold air is going to be got. We got these little glancing blows, little shots that keep riding along the Canadian border, spilling over briefly and then kind of pulling back out. So we'll still got a couple of those. In New England, for the most part, I mean, you see -1.4, but look at it sharply warms up even down toward New York State, kind of warming up there going into Christmas Day. So again, quite a bit of action out there. All right. Now, one thing I'm going to be watching here closely is just how, if the pattern change is going to be coming at us as we go in toward early next year. Now, right now, the climate outlook here on the 6 to 10 day, this takes us out to the 25th. Again, you just see that the northern tier, as we just saw, kind of flirting with that cold air, just kind of riding along the border there. But a lot of the country here, pretty warm. And that's going to continue straight in toward the 29th. Again, I think this pattern is locked in place to finish out the year. And then as we go into the new year, I think we'll begin to see some changes. The other part of the equation is going to stay wet out here in the west. We're going to add feet of snow out here, very dry here in the most of the country here going into next week. All right. And that's going to continue right into the last week of the year. Very, very dry across the eastern 2/3, wet out in the west. And that, again, that's still that lingering La Nina effect there. And if this La Nina weakens in January, I think that where it's dry now will turn eventually wetter. I think we'll get a little more active subtropical jet. We'll get a little more moisture coming across the Pacific. We'll have some Gulf moisture, but that's going to have to wait until January, I think. Sometime in January, we start to see that pattern change. So, again, looking at some thunderstorms we got to watch. Got some thunderstorms across the west to watch today. We're out to watch day 3. Some thunderstorms there across portions of Kentucky and Tennessee. Could be some isolated severe with that. I'm not that one looks a little more dynamic to me as far as potential severe weather. The only borderline is going to be instability as far as heat's concerned, but not looking too bad there. And then boy, the West Coast going to get blasted with some snow. Man, we're measuring in feet out there, big time. I think that kind of snow that fast, that's going to be like an avalanche concern there, especially for the ski resorts out in the west. All right, who we got there? Good morning, Edith, Mick. Good to see you out there this morning. I appreciate you guys checking us out. Again, I think I've been bad mouthing YouTube a lot. they've been hitting me. I've been losing subscribers up there because I've been bad mouthing them. I've actually had some folks say, "Hey, you need to change your stuff." Look, YouTube is a fixed deck. I have a whole lot more success over on Facebook than I do on YouTube. Now, YouTube, eventually I'm going to have a 24-hour channel over there on my other channel. And I'll keep doing this because I like doing this. It's kind of fun. But as far as me being able to grow a big national product, it ain't gonna happen. That's But we'll try to do it one subscriber at a time. So you guys, I do appreciate you, especially you guys out there been with me every day. I love y'all to death. So all right, you guys take it easy. Be good. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow. And we'll see you after. We'll see if those snow totals are continuing to show that feet of snow. If it does, I think that might be my teaser thumbnail for tomorrow. Is the big snows potentially going into next week out there in the west. All right, you guys.